But at RT, we had Chris Hedges, we had Lee Camp, we had Abby Martin.
Mm-hmm.
These are all similar ilk.
Yes.
And I'm on there, Max and Stacey are on there, and we're always chatting and talking, like we're all kind of in the same bailiwick, and which is also ironic because the network was referred to often as being a right-wing network, and yet
those people are so left.
It's not a right. These are lefties. Clearly, these are lefties because, the lefties in the United States, they have a very bad media time of it. Because like Air America was a disaster.
Yep.
And then Cenk Uygur is I can't always. I apologize. I'm really bad with names, but I believe this is the correct pronunciation.
Cenk Uygur.
Cenk Uygur. And then Jimmy Dore, of course, was over there. Then he split off and went his own thing. Mm-hmm. MSNBC is supposed to be like more on the other side of the aisle, but they can't really articulate anything useful. And this is a big problem that the left has.
Very big.
Right? Is that they refuse to want to engage constructively in a realistic manner because they're all crooks. And I'm sorry, I just said that, but like a Nancy Pelosi, she's a crook. She's a crook, right?
Crook.
She likes to position herself as someone on the left, more of a left-wing person, right? Am I wrong in saying that?
Yeah, I laugh because it's I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing. That's what the joke, the Democratic Party calls themselves the left.
Yeah.
But they're the left of what? They're corporate, right wing, pro war, pro banking, but they have it. I just call them Goldman Sachs with a rainbow flag. That's all they have. They're just
right. Okay, so where is the real left? There needs to be a left. I wish there was a left.
There isn't one.
When George Galloway did his testimony in front of Congress, that was a guy from the left who cleaned up, who made everyone imagine if America had like 50 George Galloways who are like actually of the left, and you'd have a great dynamism going on there.
This is the thing, and it's the thing we all talk about. I'm very good friends with Lee Camp, and I know Abby, and I've had Chris Hedges on my show, and in other conversations I've had with people like Ron Placone or whatever. We all are like the true left. We have no home. We are completely politically homeless and that's why RT was this last bastion of like the left, the real left, criticizing the Democrats and the Republicans and the whole system and calling and basically showing how. But that's not allowed in America. Mm-mm. You're only allowed to be a fake. My YouTube channel never would have got demonetized if I just sat and said everything. Well, Trump's bad and blamed everything on Trump and the Republicans, right? And just said, Biden's not perfect. If I did that, I would have never been touched. If you pick one of the dumb teams, and say the other team's bad, then you don't get censored. But if you're the real left, like all those people, like everybody loved Chris Hedges when he was calling out Bush. Lying about weapons of mass destruction. Mm-hmm. But then when he started calling out Obama for dropping more bombs than Bush, then it's like, nope, quiet.
Yeah, like I've always felt that I identify mostly as right of center, but I would always be sympathetic to the folks on the left, and I would try to feed them these ideas, the very subversive ideas. Like Karma Bank is subversive. It's a subversive idea that the left can use to rug pull the right, Another one was Crash JP Morgan Buy Silver, which was a campaign that I did, when JP Morgan ended up buying Bear Stearns, and Bear Stearns had this enormous position in silver where they were actually short silver, and they were what's called naked short silver on a lot of positions. And that if they were exposed suddenly in a way that they didn't probably anticipate, is that if the price of silver went up a lot, then they would go bankrupt because they couldn't cover this position. And the price was $15 an ounce. So we started Crash JP Morgan Buy Silver. We got the price up to 50, and they had an existential problem at JP Morgan where they were facing bankruptcy because of this incredible problem with the silver short position. So of course they lobbied DC to expand the amount of contracts that they could sell short and naked sell short. They gave them an infinite checkbook to just sell an infinite number of silver futures contracts that don't exist. You can counterfeit a sale order in the futures market to bang the price down. That's a naked short sale, and it's legal. It's not legal. It's illegal. But the way that they get around it is that in order to avoid having to pay any penalties for this, they are very lax in what's called reconciliation of trading. So all the shorts and longs have to be reconciled at the end of the day to make sure that nobody sold something that didn't exist. But the way to avoid having the problem of reconciliation is they defer the reconciliation date out infinitely. So there is no reconciliation debt. There's no one ever says, and the regulator never actually sees whether or not there are contracts that have been sold that don't exist. So they can never say officially that this person sold counterfeit futures contracts because they've never done the accounting. They've never done the audit on purpose, because they're corrupt, because they're captured regulators. So they don't do that. And there was a company called Overstock, run by a guy named Patrick Byrne, whose stock was attacked by short sellers. And he took the SEC to court, and they had this protracted legal action to try to, and it was all around something called CHO with a number, which is the actual regulation nomenclature for what should be the reconciliation. And this went on for a long time. He ultimately lost that battle, and it continues to this day. And we got the price up to $50 on silver, and then they, of course, you can take physical delivery of silver. That's what made it key, because usually all these futures contracts, they sell for cash, right? But if you remove the physical silver from the market, then you are making it impossible for them to float even bogus contracts. So the idea was just to buy silver. If everybody in the world bought 5 ounces of silver, you could kill JP Morgan dead, essentially. So I did the math on this. It was something like just everyone buy 5 ounces and Jamie Dimon's out of a job. And, we had all these videos of people stacking silver, like 500 coins, 1,000 coins, like, we're going to fuck Jamie Dimon. And this went on for 6 months. The Financial Times did a story about it. Like, there's some activist out there, he's trying to kill JP Morgan, and we don't think it's going to work. But, if you look at my Wikipedia page, they cover it, and they say something like, Max Kaiser. And then the UK press said it was a fantastical scheme, so like they were trying to talk their way out of this. And but that was a subversive campaign from me, the capitalist, subversively giving the lefties a way to rug pull. Like they assume that they can't assault this edifice called capitalism. It's impenetrable. But you know what? It's a house of cards that is easily taken down with a few simple tricks.
Easily. That's the thing. I love that. That's such a great piece of activism. And what I was thinking of when you were saying this, which is a great story, is, I made such a point of this to my audience when the GameStop thing happened. I go, that was a bunch of activists on basic gamers that didn't want to see their favorite store get shut down from their childhood on Reddit, and they stuck it to them, and then everybody complained because they're like the billionaires or whatever, like, you guys game the system the way we do. You can't do that. And it was like, the point I kept making to my audience, I go, look at how powerful that activism was. And nobody got tear gassed. Nobody got beat up or shot with rubber bullets or thrown in jail or beaten up or any of the things that happen in street activism when the state is going to send riot cops. That's going to happen. And I was like, see, Bitcoin is like a GameStop thing. It is, exactly. Every day.
Exactly right. So GameStop was a short squeeze, which is exactly like crash JP Morgan buy silver. You're squeezing the shorts exactly in the same way. They discovered that something like 400% of the float of the stock had been sold, counterfeited and sold, that didn't exist. And it unleashed this Bet Wall Street, or Wall Street Bets character on social media, and that was huge for a while. And that's exactly correct.